Hi, this is Brandon Foley from thirstgym.com. Today we're talking about an exercise called the band reverse pec deck to overhead raise. This is a great shoulder complex, upper back, rehab, pre-hab exercise you can put in your training programs that helps with shoulder health, upper back, and overall shoulder strength. I really like this. This is a great warm-up. It's a great finisher. It's a good way to stay proactive on your shoulder health, but also lets us work in all the planes of motion as well while we do this exercise. You will need some kind of rig or rack and some kind of bands for this exercise. I recommend the micro mini bands from Elite FTS for this particular exercise. You do not need incredibly strong bands to perform this. The micro minis should be completely fine for just about anybody, depending upon your goals. You might drift into the minis, but I would just say start with the micros and go from there. So what we're going to do is we're going to perform a standard band reverse pec deck. I've kind of showed this in the past, so you can find that on our YouTube or on our website. But we're going to add an overhead raise to the complex. So we're going to have the bands come across from each other. We're going to have our palms facing each other as well. And what we're going to do is make sure there's a little bit of tension from the get-go, so we don't want to start to where they're slack. We want to make sure there's a little bit of tension here. What we're going to do, stand good and tall, arms good and long, we're going to pull them apart. Okay, so that's our band reverse pec deck part right here. We're basically going to make a T. Once we make our T, we're going to bring our arms straight overhead, back down, and then back. That's one rep. So we're going to pull apart, raise, down, back. Apart, raise, down. And that's it. It is that simple. What I really like about this, as I mentioned, like I said, we get to work on all the planes of motion. So we're working the frontal and sagittal planes. There's a little bit of rotation component having to be able to come back and forth. So the great thing about this is not only we're working in all the planes, but we're working the shoulder in a way that we would probably see it used in sport, everyday life. We got to be able to reach overhead. We got to pull things apart. We got to bring our arms out in front of us. We got to reach for things, and we need good quality stability. The reverse pec deck part is great because we're going to have the abduction. We're going to pull the arm away from the body, which is great for building up the rear delts and the upper back. But then we go to raise overhead. As we do that, the bands are trying to pull our arms forward, and we're resisting that as we come overhead. So the triplanar part comes from what the scapula is doing, and it's resisting and trying to stay hunkered down, but raise when we need to be able to raise overhead and then come back. So we're going to retract it, and then we raise overhead. It's going to upwardly rotate around the rib cage, and that's going to be really good for overall shoulder health, stability and mobility and all the things that you kind of want to do with your shoulders and your athletes. So when it comes to programming these, what do? If it's a warm-up, probably 8-10 reps. If you're putting it in a finisher, which is definitely something that what we primarily do, we kind of pair this with our abdominal and our light accessory stuff to make circuits. And so what we like to do with this exercise is perform for 10 to 15 reps, depending upon the kid, the athlete, client, and their strength levels. So this is a great exercise, 3-4 sets. You'll really feel your shoulders warmed up. I think you'll really find that it's a great way to improve your shoulder strength. That's super easy to set up, but it's also better than just the standard face pull and pull apart, which get really mundane and people get bored of. This is a good way to put a little spice on it. So if you got any questions, feel free in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.